So, in my previous video, I said I was demisexual. But I'm going to explain my crush history and how I found out that I was demisexual. In preschool, I don't know if it was my first year of preschool, or second year of preschool, but that was when I developed my first crush, which I don't actually remember having. And the weird thing is that they are on the same team as me. And I still know them. But definitely that actual attraction was gone immediately after my second crush in kindergarten. But of course, to be clear, they were both female. Very clear. I am biromantic, so that was the case. That happened to be the case that they were both female. In kindergarten, I basically developed my second ever crush, which I think, yep. But know for a fact that the preschool crush was named Egan. Maybe kindergarten crush was named Addison. And then first grade, I actually remember having a crush. I'm actually pretty sure it was the same. We haven't got to get through elementary school. In second grade, I developed my third ever crush, which was named Ashley. And of course, I was kind of stupid. I didn't understand the difference between platonic and romantic love. See, they were just inviting me along to certain things, and sometimes but I only took that in a romantic way, even though clearly they were just trying to be a good friend. And, of course, third grade is when things happened, but in third grade, I was, pretty much feeling completely as a romantic asexual. I was not feeling any romantic or sexual attraction at all. I was not having that, and that happens to be the same thing for fourth grade. And also, one of the things about fourth grade is that I had an awful math teacher. I hated the math teacher, and that's it. In fifth grade, I let's just say, may have developed a fourth crush, which I didn't actually know that I had a crush on them. I was just very completely sure that they were just, I just really thought of them as one of my closest friends, and that's it. And that is literally it. even though I may have cried over not going on a field trip with them, not being in the same group for a field trip with them. And I've also cried because I wanted to be in a certain project. God, I was sensitive back then. God, I seriously need to jeez, God, that was very much when I could not control my emotions at all. That was it. I could not really think. And then in 6th grade, I realized that I had a crush on them, and by the way, their name. This is the one that I'm very much so hesitant to say their name, but I even remember their last name, which is something that I don't remember for any of the others. I mean, other than the first one, which I don't actually remember having a crush on, so that's the thing that doesn't actually matter. But since I remember this one's last name, and I remember having them in the most recent, that is the one that I've had nervousness every time they end up getting near me. I ended up having to, I end up just casually, let's just say, since I have one boyfriend, I'm so into casually rubbing his back or rubbing his arm, having his back, or just casually having me just put my hand on his arm. I'm just so I'm just so focused on showing that I've moved on. But God, I still remember them, and it's just something that I remember they were making me feel at least they didn't actually, at least the former crushes never even mentioned that they had interest. They just didn't mention that they didn't. So that's the thing. This one crush that I had ended up I ended up just so they actually gave me false hope, which was the most annoying thing. I've never actually had that in that moment, which actually made me feel the most pain. That was the one that was actually mostly impacted on me. And then in 7th grade, I ended up just creating this fantasy world. I ended up pretending that one of the characters in the series that I talked about on the main channel, actually was possessing me and making me do a whole bunch of things. And then, of course, and I, of course, eventually and then I, of course, met my friend. They were not my boyfriend, and they became my friend on the first day. They were when I started actually gaining hope for life. And of course, I ended up getting in a relationship with them a couple months later, and by the time that I ended up actually falling in love with them and dating them, and then, of course, a few months later, I ended up actually gaining sexual attraction, which, of course, means that is one of the ways that I found out that I was demisexual. So I always apparently have this process. Become friends with them. Get to know them. develop a crush on them, actually get into a relationship with them, and then eventually, for a while, and then I start getting sexual attraction to them. That was my process of how I actually get sexual attraction, and